Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good day everyone. So now I want to explain to you about the illustration on the calculation of unit production cost using traditional and ABC approach. So uh, I, wa- I will explain the difference between the traditional system and ABC system in order to calculate the production cost of the product. So here we have ADZ manufacturers. So they have two products, so X and Y. So you also have the info relating to the cost of overhead and also the volume units for each of the product, 4,000 and 10,000 for product Y, and also given is the direct labor hour per unit for product X and also the product Y. So the question also give you the budgeted overhead uh, of the company, and the budgeted overhead is 800,000 in total, right? So presently company absorb overhead based on the direct labor hour basis. So meaning that the company currently the company absorb the overhead based on the single basis, which is the direct labor hour, and it is considering and the company is considering to change to the ABC system, and the overhead can be identified with the three measures activity, because if you want to use the ABC system, you need to determine what are the activities involved in order to produce the product. So we have order processing, machine processing, and also the product inspection. Alright, so we also have the other data with relate to the order process, machine hour, and inspection for product X and also the product Y, and also given the cost driver quantity for each of the activity. Alright, and you are required first using the direct labor hour basis, which is the traditional basis, to apply overhead to production and calculate the unit production cost for each of the product. And number two, you need to calculate the production overhead by using the ABC system for each of the product. Alright, so I will explain. Okay. I will explain to you using the suggested answer so that you have the idea what are the differences in calculating the production cost using traditional system and also the ABC system. So in traditional, we're gonna start with the traditional system first. So we have traditional system. I zoom. Okay, right. So the traditional system, there are two steps involved. First, you need to calculate the single OAR using direct labor hour. So the single basis of OAR is depending on the question. So if the question used to uh, if the question instruct you to use the machine hour, so you have to use the machine hour labor. But in this question, we will use the direct labor hour as a basis to calculate the OAR. So OAR, so what is the formula for OAR? Budgeted overhead divided by budgeted basis. So budgeted basis is the DLH, direct labor hour. So the budgeted overhead given in the question is 800,000. So divided by 3 hours is the basis for direct labor hour for uh, product X. So here, so direct labor hour per unit for product X is 3 hours and product Y is 4 hours. So you just copy and paste, masukkan dekat dalam formula. Alright. So how about the 4,000? Why we need to multiply with 4,000? Because the product X, the volume of units that the company wants to produce is 4,000. unit. So at the end of the day, you will get 15 ringgit and 39 cents per direct labor hour. So this figure we will use to determine the manufacturing cost for second step. So for the second step, we have prime cost. How to calculate the prime cost? Material plus the wages per unit. So we have to total up the 25 and 36. So you akan dapat 61 for product X. And now you need to you need to add with overhead. So how to calculate the overhead using the single basis? OAR time with the actual direct labor hour. So now OAR kita dah kira dekat atas tadi ni RM15.39 darabkan dengan 3 hours direct labor hour yang dia bagi tahu dekat dalam soalan. Alright, so you have to refer the question. Alright, 3 hours. Right, Now, at the end of the day, you akan dapat unit manufacturing cost for product X is 61 plus with 46.17. So, tambahkan dua ni. Prime cost tambahkan dengan overhead, dapatlah unit manufacturing cost iaitu 107.17. So, same goes to product Y using the same formula, same calculation with the product X. So maybe you need to do on your own on the product Y. So how to get this figure? So you learn from the answer. Alright, so at least you understand how to get the figure and why the answer stated 149. So how to get the 149. So, right. So then we need to calculate the manufacturing cost using the ABC system. So what is the difference between traditional method and the ABC system is that in step 1, calculating in a traditional system, we use single basis, right? So in ABC system, we need to determine the cost driver rate for each activity cost pool. Cost driver rate for each activity cost pool. So now we have order process, we have machine, we have product inspection. So this is the overhead cost involved. Okay, this is the overhead cost. So from the table, we have 150,000, 560,000 and also 90,000. And we need to determine what is the cost driver quantity for each of the activity. So mana nak dapat? So you akan dapat daripada table ada data ni. Okay, cost driver quantity for order process 500, machine hour 40,000 and inspection hour is 10,000. So now we masukkan dekat dalam table dan now we need to find out what is the cost driver rate for each of the activity. So how to calculate the cost driver rate? So from this formula, overhead divided by cost driver quantity tadi tu. So okay, so cost driver rate overhead divided by cost driver. So kita akan dapat 300 per order untuk order processing, 14 ringgit per machine processing and 9 ringgit for inspection product, inspection hour lah. Alright. Now, once you get the cost driver rate, so you need to determine the manufacturing cost using ABC approach. The calculation is the same as the single basis, which is the traditional method, and the difference only in calculating the overhead absorption. While the formula for overhead absorption for ABC is that CD is the cost driver rate times with the cost driver quantity divided by volume for each of the activity. So you need to calculate the volume or the overhead absorption based on the activity. activity incurred. Alright, so we have 3 activity, so you need to calculate one by one. So the order processing, 300 for CD rate, 300 for CD quantity, and 4,000 for volume activity for product X. So mana you nak dapat all this figure is from the table given, right, in the question. So you need to total up for each of the overhead absorption for each of the activity. Dan you akan tambahkan prime cost 61, tambahkan all this amount. So you akan dapat manufacturing cost per unit 151, right? So same goes to the product Y. So you need to do on your own and understand why the figure, why the answer get the figure. So I leave you all the calculation to do to make sure that you understand all the step that have been explained. Alright, so that's all. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.